What's up, everybody? It's Ed from the Nerdy Basement. Hopefully, you guys are having a great time. Today, we have a very special guest. We would like to welcome to the basement, John Livesay. Welcome to the basement, John.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, of course, this is pre-recorded, but all good. Like
Yes.
the hopefully the viewers are going to be in there, and they're going to have a good time with this because I'm excited. I've been seeing all the cool like preview pages for your Slow City Blues, but before we get into that good meat and potatoes, we heard that you are just like all our viewers. You're a fellow nerd, and I
Yeah.
would like give us a little bit about that. Like you've been reading comics since when again?
I started getting the comics when I was 4.
Wow.
So I've been in it for pretty much almost my whole life. So I mean, I don't know how I got my first comic, probably from my dad or somebody, because he was in the comics. Like him and my uncle had like comics I read when I was a kid and stuff. So I just ended up getting, if I remember correctly, my first comic was Amazing Spider-Man 151.
Oh, cool.
And
Nice.
yeah, just I don't know. I just took to it immediately, and just from there on, just getting more and just they opened up that box and it just kept going. So
no, trust me, I have a closet full of them, and I just started recollecting 5 years ago, and I'm my like, as you probably know, my closet is almost full of just long boxes.
Yeah. They definitely take up a lot of room. I'm generally always a floppy guy. I do have a lot of hardcovers and trades, but I'm always more into the floppies, and because that's all there was when I was little. Like trades didn't start getting popular until I was out of my teenage years, I guess. So but yeah, just floppies. But trades are nice, also to the fact, like if something's so buried and I can't get those issues out, or I just don't have the time to do it, I'll just go and buy like a used trade on Amazon or something, or eBay. And it's like, oh yeah, I'll just read this real quick. Oh yeah, I forgot this is really cool. And then it's just theirs. So, and I'm such a stickler about everything staying in perfect shape. Like if I get a trade, it doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, I know, that's the good thing about it. You're like, your trades, you're like, there's no real collector's value. This is just because I loved it.
Once in a while,
I want it easy,
Once in a while, there's some trades that went out of print randomly or a long time ago, and there's some that go for some good money.
Yeah. See, like, I love this. See, like you know your stuff. I like this.
I know, dude. I got way too much. I got way too much info.
I've told the same thing. I think I've said it on an episode once. I'm like, if it wasn't for all the comic book knowledge I had, I would probably be a rocket scientist. But I was like, but I'd rather talk about Batman.
Yeah, I'm really big. I do enjoy being a big comic history buff. For the whole industry, and I know a lot of stuff, but I do like I'll find out random things. And like there was a comic company, one of the very rare comics I do have in my collections. There was a comic company that started before, I think it maybe was right around the same time DC started, right before, called Centaur.
Okay.
And they started maybe in 36 or 35, and they had Bob Kane doing stuff before he did Batman. So there's always precursors. Like this is they always say in the price guide, this was the prototype for Bruce Wayne, or that kind of things. And their comics are super hard. They're hard to find, but they're even way harder to find in really nice condition, because from the stories I've heard, the paper they use was even cheaper than pulp paper for the pulps back in the day. And so finding them in good shape is very difficult. So
totally.
And like, I thought I knew a lot of stuff. I didn't find out about that company until maybe 2011 or 10, and then I had to know everything about it. So I did get one rare book that I found that a dealer was like giving me the whole lowdown on the company, and I was like, yeah, I got to get this. So I do look for them, but they're very expensive and they're really hard to come by. So
I could tell. Yeah, no, totally. Like you said, since what, like 2011, I just learned about it 2021. So thanks to you.
They're not super common. It's so odd, they just kind of, they were there, and I guess they must have been doing well for a while, but they probably just
Oh yeah.
stopped. But
it's just like all those bubblegum comics. Like it's like, you just have them from the gum and everything like that. So they could have got destroyed in seconds. And
yeah,
they were just like, it was just little stuff to them. They didn't think it could be
yeah, and
something
also
big. Yeah.
one of the big factors of all the the pre World War II books and up till they started doing all the paper drives during World War II, all that stuff got thrown in for what was the term? What was that term they used?
What was the action? I feel like I know the term.
No, it's paper. They had paper drives because they needed stuff for things. So everyone got rid of all their comics. That's one of the factors why some Golden Age books are so incredibly rare, because all the kids read them once or twice and then they donated them all for the paper drives for the war.
Yep.
So, but after 45, there was a lot more comics coming out. So.
Oh yeah, totally. No, that's so cool. Like I love it that you your stuff. You're there. You get what we're doing, because at the same time,
man,
like you said, it's there.
I did another interview a couple weeks ago, and the guy phrased it perfectly. He's like, he's all in.
Yeah.
I am all in.
I'm like, right now, me and my significant other, she's like, what are you gonna do when this is all filled up? I'm like, I'll get there when I get there.
Yeah,
I was like, exactly. But I'll keep you posted. Yeah, luckily, I can get her into like comics. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I have stacks and stacks just around my studio, just piles and piles and piles and piles of books. And surprisingly, because we have we have a little 4-year-old girl, and my daughter really has not. I was waiting every day for her to just randomly grab stuff, but no, I don't know how, she just really has not been interested in grabbing this stuff.
That's so maybe because she sees daddy playing with. She's like, "Oh, these are daddy's toys." Maybe there's no fun to it. I don't know.
She really hasn't. So I was kind of surprised.
Hey, honestly, then you're lucky, because the day that she starts touching it is the day that you're like, okay, you got to be very careful with this. And maybe this one. Hey, you know what? Just grab this trade.
Yes.
But I'm also saying, like, you have a nice little original piece of art back there. Is that one of yours, or
no? That's just that's an old Jim Steranko poster.
All right.
It was from he did a little he says it was the first graphic novel, that Chandler pulp detective story, which it's great. Okay. It's amazing. And I found this random poster. He must have been doing an art gallery showing in, is it 79? Yeah, in 78, in 1978. So I randomly found that poster. But yeah, I love Steranko. He's one of my favorite guys. So
great. So you know what? Let's fast forward a little bit. So how did it all this love, all the collecting and all that kind of stuff, is this what drove you to want to get into the Kuber School of Cartoon Art and as becoming an art student in general?
Well, my original plan when I was in, I think, middle school, I don't know if it's the same term throughout the country, but I grew up in
middle school. I had middle school, so yeah.
I think some parts of the country they don't have that term, but I had grown up on 8 Mile in Detroit, and after we finished first grade, we moved over to further down where I went to schools. So that was like, I think, Mount Clemens, and then middle school was technically 7th and 8th grade, right before high school. So during that time, I had kind of gotten the plan that I was going to open my own comic shop. And I did think about that for a while. And then a friend who I had met, because they had different schools go, they all different districts go to the school. I met this guy, Phil, and he was a really good artist. For as young as he was, he was pretty good. And then I started getting ideas like, hey, let's draw this. And I would come up with stories and do this. And we were doing that for about 2 years. And then you know how it is, writers want you to change this. They like, I don't think you're on this. And then the one day I asked for one too many changes or something that irked him, and he just flat out said, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't handle it. You just draw this stuff. And I was like, it was that was right around 10th grade when that happened, because I didn't start drawing till right at the end of 10th grade or right afterwards. So I just, all right, I guess I'll try this. People do this, whatever. So I was at 11th, I think. Maybe it was maybe in 11th grade. So because I didn't take art classes until my senior year, so I took the art class we had at high school, and then they had a career center for my school where they would have like trade school. So they had like auto mechanics and all that stuff, but they had a commercial art class, and I had taken that there because there wasn't any other classes. And I met another guy there. Again, it was all connecting school districts, and my friend Scott, he was amazing. It was, again, very irritating how good he was for us being that, and he was a year younger than me. So we became very good friends very quickly, and we're doing stuff. So I was coming up with more plots for him to draw, and then I was starting to ink his pencils. And we decided all of a sudden, like, hey, you know, we're going to do this for a living. Let's go to the Kubert school. So like with any school, you have, like with that, you have to apply. You have to send your portfolio to see if they would accept you. And since he was a year behind me, I waited a whole year until he graduated high school so we could go together, because, you know, we were in, you know, just outside Detroit, and then moving out, you know, to Jersey was a big deal. So I wanted to at least know one person. And yeah, that whole next year, I just worked and saved up a ton of money to go. So, and shockingly, I got in. My stuff was so bad. I was no way. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get in. I was stunned when I got the letter that I got in. I couldn't believe it. So, and of course he got in, which was, you know, it was silly, so. And
he gave you a good word. He gave you a good word.
I don't
He's like,
know,
hey,
but
gotta get this guy in.
So we went to the school the following year, and yeah, it was great. And you know, it was a lot to learn. It was a lot for me to learn, because I didn't know anything. I just didn't know anything about art. So I had to learn about perspective, and I just every aspect of it. And it was hard. I mean, I was just struggling because you had 2 classes a day, 5 days a week. So you had 10 classes, and you had homework in every class, and you had to do this and that. And I'm sitting there every night trying to figure out how to do this stuff. And it took me, I was such a bad artist, and I had such struggling with doing proportions on anatomy and this and that and perspective. And then Scott is with me, and he literally, the next morning when they were due, we go to school. I'd be freaking out in class trying to finish everything, make sure it's done, and I'm erasing. He'd walk across the street to the deli, get a huge breakfast, come back, draw the whole assignment right before class started, and it was the best one. It was beyond irritating. And he was so good, but he was very good about helping me out when I had, you know, I was like, how do I fix this? You know, how do I do this? And then he was very good about placing stuff. So I went there. I was at the school. I went a year and a half, and then it's a 3-year school. And this is going to sound stupid, but I'm not a school guy. I'm better at just jumping in and doing it. And if I don't do it well or I fail, I'll just keep trying. So it was right at the time when Image started. Like 92 is when Image started. So, you know, the whole industry completely changed how books were being colored, how pages, you know, everything just got turned on its ear. So I just decided, I dropped out, and I just taught myself for the next year. I just, you know, stayed at home, and I decided that I was making more strides inking. My penciling was incredibly awful, and it was taking me so long to get anything accomplished with it. But my inking, I was making some great strides weekly with it, and so I was getting better and better. Got it. And I just, like, I got my first pro gig in the middle of '93. So
oh wow. So yeah, you've been a professional, like, that's the coolest thing right now I'm hearing, is that, you know, you had a drive, and that's what a lot of people, you know what I mean? That's where people forget. This is one of the biggest things you need. You need to be able to say, this is what I want. I'm going to just keep on trying. I'm going to keep on going for it. And you're going, and then you found exactly what you liked, and exactly.
It's all practice. You got to put in your 10,000 hours. And at that time, so what, that was 93. I was 21 when I got my first gig, and I still had to be very responsible, because all my friends just wanted to go out every night and hang out and go to the bar and go just hang out back then, you know, because there was a ton of great clubs and bars in Detroit, and they wanted to go every night, and I can only go once in a while, because I was like, I gotta stay home, I gotta practice, you know. And I'm still had whatever part-time or regular job I had, you know, so I'm still trying to do that and work all night. And so yeah, it was definitely a weird time, because it wasn't like I was trying to break in when I was 30, but you know, I just, you know, you gotta like, all right, you can go and do all this stuff. So it was very, very different for me having to like say, no, I can't go out tonight. So
Again, you're better than most 21-year-olds at the time. So
yeah,
you did
you gotta
exactly what you
really,
had to
you gotta
do.
put the commitment down, man. You gotta really, really try. And it helped, if you really want to do something, you just have to it's all about just practice.
Yeah. Yeah. See, well, it paid off because that's where it came into, you
And
started working
discipline.
with
There you go.
discipline, definitely discipline, practice, all that
Yeah.
fun stuff. Exactly. Those are the big ones. Right. And then, but it pays off, because then you, of course, you get your big professional gigs with DC, you with Marvel, you work with Image, and of course, creator own. So it's like, from that, you've got to work on stuff like Flash, Doctor Strange, and so on. What from that experience got you to the point that, with the creator owned stuff, really gave you better drive to want to do your own things or do a lot more creator owned pieces?
Well, we're in a much different world with comics now, and we have been for the last bunch of years, where the creator owned thing has become the thing to do. And if you want, you want to be in control, or you've got this idea and you want to keep it, and hopefully reap the rewards and benefits of it, and be in control and do how if you want to make your story 30 pages, you don't have to stick to the 20 pages that Marvel and DC does, or if you have a particular way you want it colored. And it's vastly, even this year alone, is taking such a massive turn with everybody. Everyone is jumping ship and doing their own creator own book. And now with the luxury of being able to crowdfund a book, because it's still expensive. You can't not have an income and then hopefully want to do comics. Everything still has to be money, and it's not great to say, but you still it still costs stuff to unless you're doing everything yourself, but you still have to pay for the books to get printed and shipped out, and you got to do your good deed, and you go to the conventions and shake all the hands and kiss all the babies and make sure everybody really knows, like, hey, gotta check this out. It's easier now. You have social media and you can reach the whole planet, but that is a good luxury that we have nowadays. You can just sit at home, if you're having lunch or if you're drawing a page, put this out. Like, I've been posting on my Twitter feed to just get stuff people might like. I've been posting a nice or rare book from my comic collection, getting that side of the fans. And then I'll also put up a piece that I've done for a job. Like I've been putting up, I did a year on Legion of Superheroes with Jim Shooter and Francis Manapul. And I hadn't seen that stuff in a really long time. And I randomly came across an envelope with all of it in there. I was like, yeah, some people would dig this, I guess. I don't know. So I just started putting up like covers and pieces, and people were flipping out. So that was some cool stuff we got to work on. There was some, Francis and I were doing some crazy jam-packed heavy pages.
Oh, totally.
So,
no, I had to look through my list and everything like that, but I'm pretty sure I have a bunch of your books that you worked on. So that's what
maybe, yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe. So I'm like, that's the problem with being a collector. You don't know anymore. Once you hit like a certain amount of books, you're just like, do I have this anymore? I was like, I don't even know what I got anymore.
I'm pretty good about remembering everything. Just once in a while, there'll be a variant cover that I'll see it shoot up in value. Like it'll just it'll just shoot up in price. And I was like, I think I grabbed that one, and I'm looking through my boxes, and I am nowhere near as organized as I used to be before I moved away from home. I was much, I had a whole list. I had everything. Then after I moved, that was it. Cause I was I started working like double time. When I moved to California, I just started working extra full time at Extreme, Fivefolds Extreme. And then I jumped right in the Top Cow like 3 months after that. And that was just nonstop pages. And then, squeezing in Marvel pages in there. So I was still getting books all the time. It's just my cataloging and, it just, that fell by the wayside immediately. So I knew what I had. Like, if there was certain books I was looking for, I could always remember. And there was always stuff I am looking for. But a lot of the stuff I look for is either never shows up or it's so pricey now. It's kind of just out of reach.
Yeah, no, I can tell you. Yeah, it's one of the difficult things about it, the price point. But it's it's for the good of the industry and so on and so forth. So it's like, that's why
Yes.
I'm happy to support, you know what I mean? Especially as long as they keep on feeding me the comics that I want and all that fun stuff.
I went Wednesday. I mean, I got a whole stack of books.
Oh,
So
yeah,
so.
exactly. It's all mine
And
are
I'm
right
so,
below me
yep.
too.
Yeah, and I'm so behind since we started doing the crowdfunding campaign on Zoop for Slow City. I have from the last 4 weeks. I still have like a backlog because I've just been too busy doing all this stuff. And usually what happened, like I'd go to the shop that Wednesday morning and then I would read everything that night, you know, after I do all the stuff during the day, do some work. My daughter gets home from school. We do all that, you know, we do all the kiddie stuff, and then she goes to sleep. And then Wednesday night, I just speed read whatever I would get, whether I get like 2, 4, or 12 books that day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've got 4 piles to go through, so it's gonna be a while.
So I trust me, I feel for you, man. I was just like that. I still have like a whole long box of stuff that I need to get to, but some of them I'm like, at least I'm chopping away at the of the box. But eventually, when I chop away at the box, next Wednesday shows up, and then I get more comics anyway. So I'm like, I was like, I didn't do anything. I was like, it's back to the same number.
one book I just bought yesterday that I didn't realize I didn't have the original one. I'm a huge Paul Pope fan. Okay. And Paul was generous enough to do a cover for my book, which was beyond incredible. I couldn't believe he even said yes. But his original book back in the 90s at THB, I didn't realize they did a different version of the first issue. That's the one I have. And I thought I had the first print. I was looking, and I just don't have it. So I finally went on eBay and pulled the trigger and bought that first print last night. So I'll get that in a few days. So
congrats. There you go. That's it's a good feeling.
Yeah, I just, you know, it's one of those things. I was like, this isn't the first. I was like, because it was one of those like second printings with a bunch of bonus material or something at the end. And I remember where I bought. That's the thing. Like, I remember where I bought most of my issues. Like I bought that THB stuff where I was introduced to Paul stuff at this very cool comic shop in Royal Oak. Back home in Michigan, and they had this very cool, like, tall store, and we were walking through it, and I was like, oh, this looks cool, and I picked it up, and it was all black and white. So, but yeah, it was incredible that he agreed to do that cover for us. It was very, very nice. Oh, and great. I own the original for that cover, so he was very generous in selling it to me.
Oh, nice. All right, there you go. You're like, not only did this happen, but I got this happen.
Yes, yes.
See, that's the scary part. You're in the industry and you're still a collector, so you're just like, I got to be a little careful. I don't want to.
Yeah, double. I'm definitely very particular about what I've been buying the last bunch of years, because I'm not saying I have everything, but I bought so much stuff back in the day when I was a kid, when it didn't cost anything. There's only a handful of things I actively look for, but again, they generally never show up. Like any original art I'm looking for, it rarely shows up. I bought one piece last year, and I couldn't. It was up, and I called the guy immediately, like, oh, and I got it. So, but I haven't bought any old books. In a while. And even like that one I got yesterday, the THB #1, that's not old. I mean, I haven't bought any Golden Age books in a long time, just because, you know, as you've probably seen last year, everything is skyrocketed in price. It was, it's crazy. So, it's insane. Which is good. You know, it's good for everybody, but it's still pretty nuts. So trying to, you know, if you're looking, like, if I really, really would like a nice high grade Fantastic Four 5, but
of course,
that's
I think everybody would. It's like,
well, yeah. I like FF. I just, you know, I have all the Spies and all that stuff, but I have a nice amount of FF. But I always, you know, I really like Doctor Doom. That's such a classic cover in that key issue. So, but that, and I'd like a nice 12 where the Thing and the Hulk first meet. But
that would be cool. Yeah.
See, I'll be okay.
I would love to do that. Like, I always said it to myself. I'm like, either I can get this Golden Age comic, or I can pay for my comics for the next 2 weeks. And like, so it's like you always hit that little crossroad.
There is that. I stupidly did a trade in the mid 90s. I had there's a comic shop just outside of East Detroit called Comic Tech on 11 Mile and Harper. And they would get these random boxes once a year. A guy would come in, and he, you know, whenever he needed money, he needed rent money or something, he'd bring in like a half box or a long box. And it was all this insanely high grade bronze and silver age stuff. And back then, stuff wasn't, wasn't as pricey. So I
Yeah.
go there every week. Wait, the guys, oh, we just got these and we got these. And then, like, I picked up most of the ridiculous high grade stuff I have in my collection I got from that shop.
Nice.
And I picked up a Marvel Spotlight. Yeah. And so I got a 3, 4, 5, and 6. And 5 is the first Ghost Rider. And everything else I got from there on that high grade thing has come back 9 6s or 9 8s. And I held on to that Ghost Rider one for like 2 or 3 years. And a good friend of mine who was a dealer was bugging me to sell it. So finally, because back then we never would have predicted that like a 9 6 of that book will be a $30,000 book. So
amazing.
I traded it to him, and I made him give me a colossal amount of credit at his store. So, and then I had a copy at that same store. I got a nice copy of Brave and the Bold 28, which
that's not
it was
bad,
nice. It wasn't in great shape. It was maybe a 3, but again, that's still an insanely expensive book. And again, I had it for a couple of years, and he was nagging me to sell. So I did the same thing. I traded it again for a crazy amount of credit, and those are the only 2 real regrets. I never really sell anything for my collection. The only 2 things I super regret getting rid of, because they're such massive keys. And just that's the only thing
I see. I think I'm gonna end up emailing you in a couple of years saying, hey, John, look, I have these key issues. What do I hold it, or do I do something? Like, because honestly, like you're speaking poetry to me right now, because I'm just like, oh fuck, I was like, I don't want to get to that point yet. I was like, right now, my collection, there's not there yet.
See, the thing that's hard now, because like back then, like say when I bought that Spotlight 5, that might have been 94 or 1993, something around there. Probably, and I probably paid 20 or $25 for it, maybe, because Ghost Rider was still somewhat hot, because they had that new Daniel Ketch version come out that was great. Mark Texier doing the art, that stuff was amazing. But it's different now, because everything is so pricey. You don't know if you hang on to it or whatever. Or the only thing you can luck out is that if you can find, going to flea markets, or I think the new thing now, I don't know how you would really find out, but when they sell storage lockers that have expired.
Yes,
I think it's very rare, but I mean, I think it's hard. The only time, because I used to bug me when I was a kid, like, or even later, like you see these guys, I just found this collection, I heard about this collection, or I got notified about this great collection, and I was like, I never hear of anything, and it was so annoying. I was like, and I've got my ear to the ground, I'm listening. I would go to cons all the time back home in Michigan. I even went to my first. They used to have little tiny Sunday comic conventions at like the American Legion halls. And they had it over Michael Lester had this big shop called Time Travelers, and he used to run those every Sunday. It was like once a month. And then I think he sold that show to Mike Goldman, I think, which he still owns in Motor City Comic Con now, I believe. And so, like, I was in 7th grade. My mom would, back then you just drop your kids off and no one gets abducted. So, my mom would drop me off for the whole Sunday, and you sit there and buy books, and everything was so cheap back then. I had a part-time job. I started in 7th grade, and I was just working every weekend, just saving up money. And, even though maybe I made a couple bucks that day, or maybe I made 10 or 20 bucks that weekend, you could still buy a lot of books back then, and, it just, getting that stuff it's very, very different now. It's very different from back then, going to cons now with everything. And, because now back then when I would go, you look at the dealer's back bar, they have all the nice stuff, and these are the good books. And now, when I went there when I was a kid, I was like, oh, look at that. I just, oh man, that was good. But now when I go to show and look, kind of have everything, because it's all that old stuff, when it was coming out, because it wasn't as hot, or they weren't keys, because like I could pick out a number of issues that are super crazy hot right now that you could find in the quarter bin for years and years back then.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a whole different
you never know
right now.
You never know, and there's so much nutty stuff going on. It's I just saw what they have. I saw that was it last week, that Gabriel Dell'Otto Spider-Man variant that sold for like 30 grand or something.
Yes, I think I might have just read a little snippet of that and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah,
So
yeah.
apparently there's only like 20 copies of that or something.
Mm.
And I
When was
talked
that?
to talked to a really good
Oh.
longtime friend of mine.
Mhm.
He's a comic there. I talked to him a couple days ago. He has one, and he said someone offered him his
Mm.
car for it.
I, I love it. At least they're
And he's
being
like,
creative.
yeah, and he like he almost was gonna do it, and then the guy backed out last night. He's like, oh, I'm just gonna, he got it graded, he got it back, he got a 9.8, so it's gotta be like
Oh
about a
wow.
30K book right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. Good for him.
It's
Shit.
that's crazy. That's
Oh my
that's
God.
crazy. But
Dude.
man, that's the fun
Hmm.
of randomly buying stuff, and then
Hmm.
it goes up in value, or a character hits later.
Hmm.
You get a new character, just all of a sudden, like, it
Hmm.
doesn't become popular that day, but like the next year, all of a sudden something happens, like boom, that's a big, it's a
Yeah.
nice book to own.
No, totally. Oh man, John, I know we can geek out about this stuff like probably all day. All right,
Yeah, I can
but
talk about
we're
stuff
gonna,
all day.
I love it. I was just like, I'm like, I could do this all day.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into some of the Zoop stuff. But Slow City Blues.
Yes.
A matter of fact, I'm going to ask this question. So you definitely saw that crowdfunding is where it's at right now.
Yeah.
But when you got into Zoop, were you approached by the creators of Slow City Blues, or you were a part of this, right, from
Yeah.
the
No,
very
I was
beginning,
there from the inception.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was one of the I got introduced to the writer,
Mhm.
and he had already written the story for Slow City. I got
Mhm.
introduced from a mutual friend of ours, and he just didn't know how to put a comic together. And this is his
Mhm.
very first time writing a comic. So
Oh, great.
I got introduced to him, and
Mhm.
just working out everything, and trying to show him how the whole process works of putting together a legit, real big boy comic book. Not just like, oh, I'm going to put
Yep.
this together. I'm going to go to Kinko's and get it stapled and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was there basically from the very beginning. He already had
Mhm.
the first solid draft done, but we had gone through a number of rewrites, and
Of
you do
course.
for everything. So
Of course, yeah. No, that's awesome. And so far, what I've seen from these preview pages and everything
yeah,
like that, the story and the artwork is amazing. So, and credit to you as well
very
and the
nice. Thank
team.
you.
It looks awesome. So, what can you tell us about this story that actually drew you 10 years ago when it was in fruition? Like,
It just seemed like it had the possibility, since we are trapped inside the main character's
mhm,
consciousness.
mhm,
We're not restrained by anything. Like, anything could happen. Any character could show up, as like in the story. There is only one human character right now. Everyone else is just
mhm,
different versions. I almost would say it's kind of like the whole Wizard of Oz thing, where
mhm.
Dorothy's still Dorothy, but
I like
everyone
that.
there is just a different version of the people and things she knew from the real world. So we're kind of
Mhm,
at that point in the book where everybody and everything has a slightly different take on who they were in the real world. They're still all there, like his partner,
mhm.
his wife and everything. So they're just vastly, obviously different.
Yeah. Now, so guys, if you got I'll probably put up this picture in the editing of the video and all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
for you. So Slow City Blues, on the cover, you can see our main character, also named John,
Yes.
with his partner, who is pretty much a 6 foot tall skunk, which
Yeah,
is
he's
crazy.
just under 7 feet. Yeah, his name is Moof,
Move, I love
and
it.
he is that is his partner, but also in the real world, that was his partner on the force. So here
Mhm.
it's just a very different version. But yeah, that was not the easy selling point when I wrangled in all these A-list guys to do covers. Was explaining, like, oh hey, also there's this massive skunk. So weirdly enough, they
Oh yeah.
all went along with it. Nobody questioned it, and for it being such a different thing, and it's a little silly looking and stuff, and he's
Hmm.
got that massive tail. Some of these guys, the covers they did were so good. It was just
Yeah.
like, and even a few of them, I think it's the best pieces they've ever done. And I'm very hard on everything. And I just was blown away that, like, oh my God, we're getting this in. I used to see people write this on
Hmm.
Twitter where, like, they're doing their books, like,
Yeah.
man, I just got this cover in. It's so hot, like it's melting my inbox, but I can't show it to you. And I was so thinking, and this is going to sound very dumb, so please
Oh yeah.
forgive me. I was getting these covers in,
Mhm.
and they were so good. I was gonna get up, look outside, and see if my whole neighborhood burned down. It was
Nice.
so hot. I was like,
I love
oh,
it.
it's melting my inbox. So
Dude, that's awesome. No, but then see, and that's the great thing about it. You're seeing this this whole endeavor like come into fruition. You guys literally have the first, like, I guess this is the full trade, right? 5 issues for the first part of the trade.
Yep. Yes. First storyline is it's 5 issues. It clocks in around, I think, 160 pages, 161, something like that. So it's 5 issues. The first 2 issues are just about double sized, and then 3 and 4 are regular size, and issue 5 is like 26 pages, so it's just like a tad over. But yeah, everything is done. All the covers are in, everything's all done. It'll be ready when the campaign's done. We'll get everything finalized and ready, and then it'll go to the printer. So you won't have to wait. We're doing a whole season 1 drop. We're not gonna, you're not gonna have to wait a year for each issue. Hopefully the books, with shipping delays or whatever. Hopefully everyone who was generous enough to get into the campaign should have their books delivered to them in October. I hope. So, but everything's done. There's no waiting on our part. We just have to, get. And as you would say, with Zoop, the reason they are brand new, and it was gonna take a little while for people to recognize that they were what they were and stuff. But the good thing about Zoop, and they're really good for the creators and the fans, because the site is very easy to use. We made it very Amazon Prime friendly to do your checking out and stuff. But for creators like myself and any other pro that wants to do a crowdfunding book, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work on top of you having to do the artwork and all the other stuff. And I'd heard from many of my friends how hard it was to run your own campaign and then have to do all the stuff afterwards with dealing with the printer. And then you get the stuff delivered to your house, and you have to open up all the boxes, get everything separated, figure out, I'm going to sign this, I'm signing that, and then, packaging them all up individually to mail to everyone, do all the labels and shit. It's a lot of work. So with Zoop, they take care of all that next step stuff. So if you want to, you can be a little involved or overly involved, but if you want to just focus on getting your book done, you can do that. They take care of everything else, and I was happy with that. And I knew they knew what they're doing, because the Zoop team helped manage and ran the Keanu Reeves Berserker campaign and the Scott Statter Nocturna campaign. So I knew they knew what they were doing. They knew the good printers to use. So I specifically, the items we have available on this site, since I'm such a big particular collector, I wanted to make it, this stuff is going to be so nice looking and printed so well. And I wanted to have it where if I came in and I was not involved in this at all, and I wanted to buy some stuff, I want it to look really sharp when you get it. It's going to be some nice printed, nice looking stuff. So, and they know how to do all that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm actually scrolling through right now. Like some of these, like, the gifts and the add-ons and all that kind of stuff, they look gorgeous.
And the slipcase for the floppy issue is going to be really nice.
Man. And again, congratulations, you guys surpassed your goal as well. I see.
Yeah, we got funded in a week, so it was nice. So we're just
That's it. So somebody wants to read about almost a 7-foot skunk and a guy that's stuck in his consciousness. So the interest is there. Honestly, when I see him too, he actually kind of reminds, like, I see it as a mixture of John Constantine, and I like how you said nice Alice in Wonderland type of scenario. And because I see like the magic involved in everything and the demonology type of stuff. And I'm like, these images look really awesome. And I'm like, and of course, like the dialogue alone already kind of like took me in. I'm just like, I was like, this skunk saying this stuff. Cool. All right. I can live with
he's kind of the skunk move. He's kind of the smart assy, not serious guy, but there's a time or two where he has to actually stand to attention and, not just be goofing off or just be, being wise ass the whole time.
Oh yeah, no, this looks awesome, John. Like, you guys have put in a lot of work, as I can tell. And so I also heard from a little birdie, you guys are expecting to make this also a live action into a live animation. Excuse me.
Well, animated.
Full animation, animated movie. All right. So like, can you give us any type of feedback on that? Talks have been talked, and it's going well, but there's nothing to
officially announced yet, but it's going really well.
No,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, maybe soon, but it's I've been staying out of that. I'm letting Sam and our other partners, they're all super hooked up. So we have a lot of, we're very fortunate with the connections we have. So I'm not worried about that at all. I've just been handling making sure the book looks good. And I know I brought in all the guys doing covers. I reached out to everyone, as you've just seen. I've got the best list there is. It's not possible to over. And I'm not a super A-list guy where I can like, oh, hey man, just do this, do that. I knew I was friends with half the people I got, and the other half I just cold emailed, and I was expecting notes. So,
hey, you got plenty of praise from a lot of big names as well. So that, again,
yes,
I'm sure
they were very, very nice. Yes, it was very nice
awesome
of them to take their time out to check out the book and give us their quotes. That was very nice of them.
Again, this is a venture that you took on with Samuel and all that kind of stuff, and with your experience, this is what you guys were able to pull off, and it looks gorgeous, like I said. And we just have to wait 12 more days.
I think it's 11.
Yeah,
I think it's 11 days.
Maybe I'm in a different time zone.
Is it 11? It's 11.
Just went to 11. Literally, it's just refreshed to 11. So with 11 days,
I'm pretty sure it was 11. But no, we've got we've got a good looking book for everybody to enjoy, and everybody other than our writer Sam, who is his very first outing. Everyone else has been a long time pro in the industry. Sean Mall doing pencils, he's been around for a long time. He's done a ton of work at Marvel and Wildstorm, and David Barrett doing the colors. Dave's one of the best colorists. He just got done doing a run on the main Batman book, and he's doing a ton of other DC stuff. So he really knows his stuff. And Thomas Maurer, our letter and production, he works on a ton of titles, so he knows his stuff. So it's very refreshing to have guys who they know what they're doing, and you don't have to keep checking in. So it's very nice.
No, totally. Oh man, this is awesome, man. I'm really excited to go check out Slow City Blues. Is there any other little thing you want to let the viewers know about this title that they should really be looking out for, and why they definitely need to get this?
Well, like I said, I want to make sure, I had said earlier, I go to the shop every Wednesday. I know what it's like, and I've been going to the shop every Wednesday since I was in second grade. So I've been going a really long time. And I know what it's like to plunk down your money every week for these books. I know exactly what it's like. And, it's a decision. Sometimes you can only get one book that week, or you can get a few, and you got to make your choices. So I made sure when we were putting this together, I assembled, the right professionals. And on top of getting these great cover guys, I wanted to make sure you're really getting your money's worth. And with the production value of the items we're offering, it'll be very high. And I don't know if you had noticed, the prices we're offering these at are very reasonable.
Oh yeah.
I think they're very reasonable. I did not want to disinclude anybody, that like, oh, well, we should be charging way more for this. I wanted to make sure everyone had a chance to get something that they could. I mean, we're even offering a PDF. So, if you don't have the money, or you do, I wanted to make sure everyone had a chance to enjoy it.
Yeah, oh, totally. Nah, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much. A matter of fact, before we leave, do you have please let us know all your handles, any social media, where to follow you, and all that fun stuff.
On Twitter, I'm a little more active. So my handle on Twitter, it's the number 1. So @1 John Livesay. And then for our Slow City Twitter and Instagram, it's the same thing. It's SCB Comics. Or @SCB Comics. Yes. So, awesome. But that's one for both Twitter and Instagram. And you can hit us up for questions. Like I said, I've been posting artwork from the book like each day now to get people, show them what we're doing. If you have questions like, oh, how did you do that? Or, whatever, I'm pretty good about making sure we can get back to people. So, but, or on Instagram, if you hit up about the book, please don't hesitate to ask us anything.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John.
No, yeah, thank you.
Appreciate the interview. I'll let you know, honestly, I'll probably be looking for a quote when I start writing the review for the actual trade all the way through later on when I get it. And again, thank you so much for taking some time out. And
yes.
Guys, you heard them. Go get Slow City Blues. go check it out. It's going to be, it looks like it's going to be a doozy. All
Yeah,
right, guys.
you will not be disappointed with any of the pricing we have. You're definitely going to feel like you're getting your money's worth.
Totally. Thanks
Awesome.
again,
Thank
John. I appreciate it so much. Take care. All right.
Yeah,
well, matter of
take
fact,
care.
bye to you, all you people.